Welcome to Dynamic Directions on our digital speaker series. My name is Travis Cheney. I'm the CEO of Dynamic Directions, and I'm proud to introduce my friend, coach, and mentor, Dr. Nido Qubein today. We've been working together for over 16 years. He's taught me many life lessons, entrepreneurial principles, and enhanced my business acumen all along the way. He's helped me develop a way of thinking in an entrepreneur mindset that helps me make decisions on how to help me get me where I want to go. And I'm very grateful for you, Dr. Qubein, all that you've taught me in life and business. He's spoken to our clients dozens of times and is our most requested speaker. But he has a humble background. He came to the United States as a teenager with little knowledge of the English and only $50 in his pocket. If you really want to understand his life story, I suggest you look up his on the biography channel. Fantastic. He's president of High Point University. He's taken that school. I've watched him the entire time work together from somewhat of a non-existent small liberal arts college to the top of its game. He also is the CEO of Great Harvest Bread Company. He serves on the boards of several large companies, including BB&T, which is now Truist, the Lazy Boy Corporation, and InThrive, a healthcare industry organization. As a speaker, he has many distinctions. He's won the Golden Gavel Medal. He's been inducted into the International Speaker Hall of Fame and has won the Cabot Award, which is much like the Oscar in the professional speaking world. He's also had many honors, including the Ellis Island Medal of Honor, which 4 presidents, U.S. presidents have earned. The Horatio Alger Award, which I had the privilege of being there and watching him accept that. People like Oprah Winfrey and Clarence Thomas have won that award. So he's well decorated for the impact and influence he's had. He's coming at us today from High Point University in High Point, North Carolina. I want everyone to welcome my friend, Dr. Nido Qubein. Nido?
Thank you, Travis. I didn't see any applause or anything when you said, welcome, my friend. What's up with that?
We've got them all on mute, Nido. We're trying to give you all the attention. I did see some, some hand gestures.
Okay, thank goodness for that. Well, good morning to you, Travis. Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction. You and I have been friends for a long time. I've always appreciated you, and I appreciated your integrity and your principled leadership. And I've always appreciated your style. And I always like to say that I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and Travis is at the top of the game because I've never had a relationship with you, Travis, that was not at the highest level of integrity and respect and civility. And from a business perspective, you've always been a professional. And that is, I'd like to tell you, is common, but that would be a lie. It's not as common as one thinks. And I have worked literally with thousands and thousands of people. I've had thousands of clients over the years, and I've spoken 7,500 times at corporate meetings and conventions literally across the world. So I just want to echo the sentiment that you've sent my way, and I know that your colleagues here all have known that about you and appreciate that about you. Now, look, I just came from speaking for 2 hours and 45 minutes to our new faculty on the campus of High Point University. When I arrived here, we had 100 faculty. Today, we have 400. We have 3 academic schools. Today, we have 10. We're about to open a law school on top of dentistry and optometry and pharmacy. And I walked that room, and I like to talk with them for a long time for a reason. And the reason is, if your colleagues don't understand who you are and what you stand for, it's hard for them to live within the culture. So this is rule number 1, that we think, we assume, we presume that people know our culture, and that is wrong. Often they do not know who we are, what we stand for, and what we appreciate and what we don't appreciate. So I spoke for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Hey, I said, look, if you got to go to the bathroom, you got to go to the bathroom, but I'm going to go all the way through. And I showed them where the university came from, meager beginnings in the last 13, 14 years, and where we are today. And I've talked about the fact that we're a God family country school, and that if we didn't tell them that up front, although it's in the contract, I want them to hear it from me. And I did say that, look, this is not a place for disruption. If your goal is to come here and disrupt or indoctrinate, this isn't that kind of school, and you still got time to walk. And I was honest. Now, it takes one courageous leader to say things like that to faculty. Most presidents are scared to death when they talk to faculty, probably can't sleep the night before and take some kind of a distressor, to get there. But here I'm open, I'm frank, I tell it the way it is, and I think it works best at the end of the day. I also let them know that I'm the boss. In every group, the boss must stand up and be counted. And I don't care if you got one person on staff or you got 1,000. I have 2,000 people who work here in our employ, and the boss doesn't have to be nasty or screaming at people, but they need to know that there's a voice of authority and the buck stops somewhere. So anyway, it's exciting. This is the week we're opening school, all-time best numbers ever. We've grown again. We grew last year in the middle of the pandemic. We grew again. This is not an inexpensive school, and yet people love our principals, and they're beating a path to our door. I ran out of housing, had to buy 40 houses and fix them up. I'll never see ROI on those houses by the time you pay for them and fix them up and put 3-4 kids in them. But we did it because that's who we are. And we're thrilled about that. And I say that to you for a reason, that don't ever assume that your clients or your employees know exactly who you are, what you stand for. And when you explain it in a respectful and kind way, they will appreciate that. And look, you can't appeal to everybody, right? So I can't appeal to everybody here. There are families who love our view of things, like we love America. And if you don't love America and you want to put down America and you don't want to salute the American flag and all of that, this just is not the school for you. But there are 4,000 other schools you can go to. And so I try to appeal to the 80 percentile, 90 percentile who agrees with us. And I think that's the way business works. The way business works, I don't expect everybody agrees with everything I say, but I have to have the responsibility to make sure I say things that make sense. And I say them with clarity and with conviction. So I'm looking forward to this chat with you. I have a bunch of things I want to tell you. Some of them may be heavy, some of them may be light. I expect you to take some notes so you'll forget everything I talked about. And more importantly, I expect you to sort of take a recess and reassess. Who am I? Where am I? How much more can I do? How does this apply to my business? How do I change? How do I transform? Remember, this creativity is only about doing things differently. Don't give yourself any stars for that. Innovation is about doing things better. Give yourself 1 star. But transformation is about achieving your fullest potential. So if you are on a transformational journey, give yourself 3 stars. That means every day you're learning, every day you're evaluating, every day you're improving, every day you're building a bridge from your client to you. Absent that, we've got work to do. So it's all about transformation, right? And transformation demands focus. Focus is about eliminating distractions. What are the distractions in your life? Sometimes it's an employee, sometimes it's family, sometimes it's you. So you've got to focus. Focus is more important than intelligence. Vision without execution, somebody said, is hallucination. So life is all about executing. You can't execute if you don't have a measure of the lifetime voice of your client. In other words, how do you get feedback? How do you get feedback from your clients? Is it just answers to your questions, yes or no? Or do you know how to converse with them in such a way that they can open up their heart, their mind, their soul, and tell you where they are and how they feel? And life is about changing policy when you need to change it, changing the way you do what you do, or changing the process, or changing the product. But change should be part and parcel of who we are. For the comfortable, change is threatening. For the timid, change is frightening. But for the confident, change is opportunity. And opportunity never comes without risk. You take risk out of life, you take opportunity out of life. So it is indeed about risk management. It isn't so much about risk avoidance. Now, I tell people all the time that in life you'll meet 3 kinds of people: detractors who just detract you from your focus; the passives, the passives are just kind of there. But you want the promoters. You want the people who are promoting their life, their future, their financial stability, their team, their company, their business. because these are the ones who are really going to make things happen. And on your own staff, the people, the partners you work with, the colleagues you work with, and never discuss anything without asking how your client's benefits. Every discussion has to be about how the client benefits. That's called allovectoral, a vector being a mathematical direction with force. So autovectoral is all about me, my money, my profits, my future, my business. Allovector, A-L-L-O, is all about them. There is no question in my mind, I'll debate it till the day I die. There's no question in my mind that those of us who are allovectoral, in other words, always client-oriented, benefit tremendously in life. And business comes back to us by truckloads. At High Point University, for example, I told the professors today, this isn't about you. You're not here to just give information. If all you have is information, people will use you and discard you. If you just have a bunch of knowledge, you got a PhD, you think you got all the knowledge. Well, if all you have is knowledge, you will for sure be called upon, but then they just they call upon you only when they need you, and they don't pay much attention. But if what you have is wisdom, then people will indeed respect you, and that's what we all want. We want respect. If you have any questions, just write them down. I will open up for questions in about 40 minutes or so. I think that's right, Travis. Let me know if that's not right.
Yep.
Okay, so let's begin a little bit. There are two ways to look at your business. One is to look at it through a microscope. The other one is to look at it through a telescope. So if you're microscopic on everything you do, you're anal, you're transactional, you're going to miss the big opportunities. If you're telescopic, then you're going to see the big picture. Now, the small stuff is important and you have to deliver on it, but you're also going to see the big picture. If you don't see the big picture, you're going to miss out on so much of life. Here's a term I want you to remember: suspicion of reality. Suspicion of reality. You should always have a healthy degree of suspicion about what you think your business is, how good it is, the services you're rendering. In other words, always be in search of outliers. Do not believe your own PR. Always have a degree of suspicion. Am I doing what I need to do? Is my office working the way it should? Am I hiring the right people? Are they trained the right way? Is the mindset where it needs to be? If you want to sustain what you got, you got to survive and then thrive and then sustain. That's the way it works. I don't make the rules. That's just the way good business typically works. So here's a question for you. This question, if you haven't asked it of yourself, could change your life. So pay attention. Ask yourself this question. What is the most, I'll repeat it, so listen first. What is the most important problem that I can solve that they will pay me to make it go away? Wait a minute. What is the most important problem that they have, my client has, that I can solve? And when I do, they will pay me to make that problem go away. Now, go away is a big term. Maybe diminish it, dilute it, build safeguards around it. You see, if you're like me, we fall trap to this. We're good at what we do. And we start believing what we do, and we start believing we're doing it all right. And we don't take enough responsibility. In business, we must be both responsive and responsible. So I need to always make sure that I am trained to ask this question in my mind, if not vocally or verbally. In my mind, I have to say, what is that one problem they got? That if I were able to solve it, guess what? They'll pay me. And they'll pay me to make it go away. Think what a doctor does. That's what a doctor does. A doctor takes your pain away, and therefore you're willing to pay him. And you never ask the doctor how much he's going to charge you to begin with. I just had a little thing. You can't see it. I get these Mohs surgeries on my face. There's a little scar here. I wasn't in a fight or anything, but they spot these little squamous cells. I've had half a dozen on my face. And today I decided to take the bandage off and put a little makeup on it, but it's right there. When I go to do it, I trust what the doctor tells me. He cuts me up. It's pretty ugly. And then he sews me up. And I never ask how much it costs. But yet I know that he's helping solving a problem I have, making sure that cancer doesn't grow and go into lymph nodes and cause major major injuries. So that's called suspicion of reality. Always, always, always look for in search of outliers in your business, and you'll see how valuable that can be, and know that problem that you are solving. You see, we all get rewarded for performance, right? For results, not for promises. I mean, I know there are exceptions to that rule. You know, financial advisors who get paid percentage of assets and so on. But the reality of it, if we don't perform, we're out of business. So we have to make sure that we are performing. And the question is, you know, how do we get that performance level to a great level? So I learned from my heroes, models, and mentors. And here's something the founder of Ashley Furniture, the guy's worth $9 billion. His business is doing about 8 billion, going to 15 billion. I was consultant to their business. I built all of their leadership educational materials. They paid me a very, very, very nice fee to do it in the big, big numbers. In fact, after I paid taxes, I bought a beautiful place in Palm Beach with the cash from that. And so, hey, I'm an unabashed capitalist. Okay, deal with it. I believe in the entrepreneurial spirit. I believe you work your butt off, you deliver great services, and you get paid, and you owe nobody an apology for that. But here's what I learned from him. This guy who grew up without indoor plumbing, and my goodness, built a huge business and became a multi-billionaire. Here's the question he asked me. He says, Nido, what is the cost of your revenue? And nobody's ever said that to me. I went to school, I got an MBA, I know all about P&Ls, I know all about revenues and expenses, I understand margins, I know all about that. I run an organization here that I took it from 28 million in revenue to $340 million in revenue with margins of north of 30%. That's 30. There isn't another university in all the land that can show you 30 plus in net margins. I do it year after year after year. I did it in the middle of the pandemic. So he said, what is the cost of your revenue? I said, what does that mean, cost of your revenue? He said, well, it's not just revenue minus expenses, it's every other cost. Cost to your health, cost to your family, cost to your employees, cost to your future, cost to your planning. But it's also about the cost of acquisition. How much does it cost you to acquire a customer? And how long can you keep that customer, right? Lifetime value of a customer. Because he says, if you don't understand that, then you will never be able to increase your margin. He said, your margin should grow with increased volume. Now listen to this. So many of us say, you know, my margin is 30%. As long as I keep 30%, life is great. He's saying, no. He's saying, as your volume grows, your margin should grow. What he's really talking about, dear friends, is efficiency and productivity. What he's really saying is, can you find ways to, delegate something, eliminate something, improve something, enhance something? So this year, listening to his advice, I went to all my faculty and say, every class is going to have minimum 24 students. Can no longer be 20, it's got to go 24. We're still stars in that area. But by going to 24, I improved that element of performance by 20%, right? Less professors, more income, et cetera, et cetera. So these are reasonable questions. So increased volume must show increased efficiency. Can't do it without increased, you cannot do it strictly with increased prices. Growth should enhance margin, Yeah, you should make more money as you have more volume, not just because you have more volume, but because all along you ask the question, how can we do this better? How can we do this more efficiently? How can we transform the process? How can we change our policies, our processes, or our products and services to make that really work for us? So here's another question I want to ask you. This is a question I have actually taped on my computer. I look at every day. I got a little tape. I got several things I tape on my computer. Sometimes it's a Bible verse. Sometimes it's, a simple thing as don't quit, et cetera, et cetera. And this is something that I have taped on my computer. It's a question mark. What am I doing wrong that's keeping me from becoming, fill in the blank? What am I doing wrong that's keeping me from becoming as healthy as I can be? What am I doing wrong that's keeping me from becoming, frankly, wealthier? I came to this country with 50 bucks. I never, ever imagined that I'd be at this spot in my life. Never, ever. I thought if I could have $1 million, I'm really something. And then I said 5, then I said 10. And then, you know, God has blessed me in ways that I cannot imagine. But I'm not done. I have children and I have grandchildren. One just came out in the last 48 hours. It's an amazing thing, folks. As soon as I told my 4 children that I'm going to pay for their children's education from K2 through college, they started having more babies. Now, you know, I thought we brought them up better than that. Having more babies means they have more sex. This is terrible. This is really embarrassing to me to even talk about. So I advise you, don't tell your kids, for God's sakes, you're going to do stuff for them. Then they'll start creating more population, and you're going to disappoint whatever his name was, the vice president who told us about global warming, and he was the inventor of the
Al Gore.
Al Gore, yeah, Al Gore. I'm not a big fan, so you can see that. Anyway, so seriously, what am I doing wrong? See, most of us say, what should I do to become fill in the blank, become wealthier, have financial confidence? I'm asking the opposite question. What am I doing wrong? In other words, what's keeping me? Maybe it's my attitude. Maybe I have mouth odor, for God's sakes, that nobody ever dared to tell me about. Maybe I have dandruff on my jacket, and when people see me go, if he can't even keep his jacket clean, I don't want to do business with him. I'm not trying to be silly. I'm just trying to make the point that becoming is our responsibility, and we have to work hard at that. So one way you do that is by growing your circle of influence. My mother, 4th grade educated, left without a husband. My dad died when I was 6, had to learn to become a seamstress to make money and feed us and clothe us, and instill in us values for life and principles for living. My mother was probably the wisest person I knew. She'd say, who you spend time with is who you become. So listen now, I'm not going to tell you this is empirical evidence, what I'm about to say. I'm going to tell you, though, you can pretty much take it to the bank. After all, I'm the longest serving director at Truist, which is the merger of equals between SunTrust and BB&T. I've been on that board since 1990. After all, I started a bank in mid-'80s, and we sold it for triple our money 3.5 years later, and I got on the board of the people who bought us, and they merged again, so on and so forth. I can't give away that stock fast enough because of all the multiplication of the payments that they gave us in stock and so on. So, in other words, what my mother was saying is grow your circle of influence. Listen, dear friends, the greater your circle of influence, the smaller your circle of concerns. In other words, I can do what I can do because I know people in every area, and they're in my circle of influence. And if I need something, I know who to call. And I don't want to boast about that, but I get more things done. And I believe there are no such thing as unrealistic dreams, only unrealistic timelines. I believe in the can-do attitude. I believe this is America. There's no reason why you can't do it. So here's the deal. If you put down on a piece of paper the 5 closest friends to you and try to estimate, hypothetically, of course, try to estimate, or if you knew, what is their personal income each year. So your 5 closest friends, take their income each year. Let's assume that you know what it is accurately. Let's say it's pre-tax. And then divide that over, add it up, add all 5 up, and then divide it over 5 so you can get the average of what your 5 best friends make per year. That's going to be pretty much your income for the year. In other words, if you listen to the gist of what I'm saying, the people you hang around are going to influence you in every direction, including how much money you make. I hang around, to be honest with you, with a lot of billionaires. Now you say, wait a minute, you can access that. I can't access that. Stop. Don't give me those excuses. You think I could access that when I was 20 and 25? Come on. Over the years, I hung around the right people. I learned the right things. That's what I love about about both of your leaders here, because the honest truth is Travis and Drew are the best students I've ever seen. As much as they know, they have an insatiable appetite to learn and to listen. This is a gift. Not everybody has that. So if you hang around the right people, you pick up all kinds of stuff, including a huge mindset that can drive us to all kinds of valuable places in our life. So I see here my friend Guy. Guy, I don't know if these are all your books or you rented a bookstore just to impress us. And if these are all your books, can you raise your right hand before God and humanity and tell us you read them all? Because I have a feeling you're about to commit a sin. And so you see behind me, I got all these books that people send me. I have read at least a few pages in every book. Go ahead, Guy. Can you, I don't know if they can unmute you.
Okay. I'm renting a house as I build my house, and this is in the rental property. All of my books are about this massive or more, and they're in storage units right now.
I
So
don't believe you, Guy. I
it's
gotta
true.
personally, I will send 2 IRS guys to do an audit, and I will
Send,
let you know. First
send
of all,
five. Send
are you a
five.
Baptist?
No.
And then I don't believe you. See, only Baptists. I love Baptists because when you make a Baptist mad, they'll actually pray for you. I'm a Methodist. We believe in revenge. Anyway, moving
But
on.
thank you. There's more. I have more.
You have more. Oh my Lord! Look at that. Good Lord. There are probably
It's a
some
good rental.
mice living behind those books. You better get an exterminator.
I
Uh,
have one.
anyway,
But
Guy, I'm impressed. Thank you for playing with me.
sure.
Your circle of influence has who in it? It's a serious question. I've had executives write down a piece of paper. Tell me who you have. Let's talk about it. Do you have people who represent different sectors? Or do you have them all just buddies of yours who love football? It's got to be balanced, man. It's got to be balanced. Now, you could have 5 people, you could have 10, you could have 20, you could have 30. But the more significant people you have in your circle of influence, intentionally by design, build that circle of influence. Because if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And the more you have in that circle of influence, the less concerns you'll have. Because if you get in trouble, you can call this guy, this guy, this guy. I, on purpose, made sure in my circle of influence, I have a couple of medical doctors. So I can have something at 11 o'clock at night on a Saturday night. I call one of my buddies, I get it taken care of. Now, maybe that's not the most important thing, but I also have other people. If I showed you the pictures in my office here behind me, you'll understand what I mean. I have a lot of people I, on purpose, by design, made sure that they are in my circle of influence. So look, here's what your clients want. Your clients want 5 important things, 4 or 5 important things. Number 1, they want speed. Fast now. Fast now. Your clients want seamlessness, frictionless. In other words, they don't have any friction with anybody. They just want a straight line to get what they want. Your clients want convenience. I want to access you when I need you. Your clients want personalization. Don't give me the cookie cutter. Tailor it to me. Sometimes, folks, that's nothing more than just language and approach and spirit. And then you will create tremendous trust. I always say, how many clients would look at you and say, I need you in my life? I always taught my coaching colleagues this question. Always look at a client and ask this question. What do they not have that I can provide? What do they not have that I can provide? Think of a banker. We educate everybody at Truist to look at you and say, what do you not, they won't ask you, they'll just figure it out. What do you not have? Maybe you have not prepared for your inheritance. Maybe you have not prepared for your kids' education, whatever. Then they try to sell you on that product. Then they educate you about what they can do for you. So, sources of income come from all kinds of places. I always paid attention to money because I was poor. I grew up very poor. I came to this country being very poor. I meet people like this guy. Look him up. Look up this guy. I don't know if you can make sure you can read. Can you read his name? Nod your head, Travis. Yeah. And can you read the title of the book?
Yes.
This guy has 180,000 employees worldwide. He came to this country with nothing, and he built all kinds of businesses. And believe it or not, he heard about me from a neighbor in Palm Beach, Florida, who told him, "You're going to meet Nido. Nido's doing amazing things at High Point. You won't believe it." So anyway, he reached out to me, this guy. I look him up. He's a multi-billionaire. And and I'm reading his book that he just sent me. Oh, look at that. I just got it this morning. He signed it to me. He's going to be in my circle of influence. You never know. I don't know if he has any kids or not. Maybe he has no kids. Maybe he'll adopt me. So maybe he'll help me pay for some of my grandkids' education. They're all going to private schools. Dear God, help me. So his motto is managing a better product for a better price. Now, he's an incredible guy. I met another guy the other day who founded this. I mentioned him to you, Travis. Let's see, what was the company he started? He started this company that sort of like office something. He actually sold it to them. What's the big stationery and
Office Plus, Office Max,
no,
Office Depot.
Office Depot, I think that's what it was. He sold this company to them for $685 million. And he told me a story. I don't have his book here, I have it at home, but this guy is inventing a new car. Now, between you and me, it looks silly. It looks like a motorcycle with a cover on it, but it's a car. And it's a car for only one person. And he is on this crusade that says all of our cities have become very, very traffic jammed, not just in America, but all over the world. And that's because we're all driving bigger cars. And he's saying the bigger car, he's done extensive research, more often than not has only one person in it. So he said, what if I came up with a car that is smaller and easier to maneuver and less expensive, then get you to work fast because you can move between other cars and so on. And believe it or not, Travis, he believes High Point University may be the partner he wants. Well, now look, I don't know. He's going to come visit me and I'll meet the guy. I'll size him up pretty fast. I'll know how real he is, how much money he wants to put in the line, what kind of conditions, and I'll determine it's for us or not. But the point is, who's in your circle of influence? That's the point. Because your circle of influence can teach you how you learn. Travis, I'm going to send you this book. This is written by a friend of mine. This is Alan Funt's daughter. Remember Alan Funt, the video, whatever he called, Hidden Camera, I believe it was called, the name of the show. Yep. It's called, no, I told you the wrong thing. This is written by somebody else. Stanislas Dehaene or something. But it's a fascinating book at how we learn, how our brain works. My God, I thought I was a learned person. This is the book that Alan Funt's daughter wrote, and it's a great book talking about the white space in your life. In other words, we all work hard. Like I work very hard. I work long hours every day. I love what I do. Always loved what I do. And she's talking about how to create white space in your life while still achieving all your goals. It's fascinating stuff. I read 2 books a week. I like them like this. I like them hardcover if possible. And I read them next to my fireplace. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning and read between 4 and 6:30. And it enlightens my mind. So your circle of influence is very important. Hype University, we did this study. This I can send you, Travis, if you want copies of it.
Yes, please.
We did the study. I wanted to find out why college graduates, when they go work in business or work for you, why do they fail? So we identified a survey of 500 people in business, significant people, and we asked them some questions. And the questions we asked them is, why do people fail? It's a nice little booklet here talking about why do they fail. And here's what they told us. I'll read it to you, but essentially it's explanatory in the book. Number one, They fail because of motivation. They're just not motivated. They just kind of easy life, and they're all about this term about um, life work balance. Or, I don't know what that means for most people. It's different for different people. Emotional intelligence. They may be very learned in their topic, but they don't know how to get along with people. They don't know how to solve problems. They don't know how to deal with difficulty. They don't know how to deal with failure. Coachability. They don't listen very well. Technical competence, by the way, was the smallest. In other words, they knew biology, they knew finance, they knew whatever they majored in, but this other stuff causes them to fail. And so this survey has demonstrated that employers consistently report that new hires don't work out for reasons such as what I just talked about. And here at HBU, faculty understand that educational knowledge is the foundation for success. They listen to the demands of the marketplace and prepare students to excel in the areas that matter most. Now, if I didn't listen to that circle of influence, I would not be producing the kind of school that people want to give internships to my students and hiring them. 97% of my students get a job or go to graduate school of their choice within 6 months of graduation. National average is 85%. So we are doing something right. When we talk about selling, we teach sales here. Because look, nothing is ever bought. Everything has to be sold. Sometimes you go in a store, you want to buy something, and they screw it up so badly, you walk out without buying it. And so, I teach the 4 truisms of selling. See if you agree with me. Your future sales and profits are in direct proportion to the depth and quality of your prospect file. So your future is dependent on how deep your prospect file is. We're right back to circle of influence because they open up the doors for you and they create opportunities. Here's another one, and we do it at Hyper University every day on the tours when people come to visit us to check the school out. Sell every feature and every benefit as if it were exclusive. You see, this is something, I'm amazed at salespeople who say, well, I don't talk about that because, that's commonplace. How do you know that they know about it? So, for example, in our food here, we say we provide, menus that deal with all the needs of the students, like if they have allergies or whatever. We provide appropriately. And someone said, well, some other schools do that. I go, I don't care. It's a feature and a benefit I'm going to explain to that mom because she may never hear it anywhere else. And here's the deal. If your competitor fails to bring it up, that particular feature or benefit, guess what? Yours will be exclusive in your client's perception. So don't leave it out. If it has a benefit, work it in. Value is perceived as equal by the client unless someone explains the difference. Right? So how does Ruth Chris explain the difference? To bring you the steak on a hot plate that could burn you. How does Ritz-Carlton explain the difference? How does Chick-fil-A explain the difference? How does a smart financial planner explain the difference? Telling me he's been in the business for 30 years doesn't necessarily help me. It's like a brain surgeon saying to me, I've done this for 40 years. No, I'd like to have somebody who's been out of school for 3 years because they know all the new techniques. You got to be careful how we approach this. Just because you and I believe it doesn't make it the most important for us. Look, you and your service are no better than your most marginal competitor unless you have the ability to interpret the difference. And the difference must be distinctive. Ooh, that's hard. So if you're swimming in an ocean of sameness, don't expect a lot of benefits. If you're swimming in a smaller lake of differentiation, you're better off. But if you're swimming in a small pool of distinction, look out, world, because you're going to win like nobody can win. And it starts with the way you look, the way you dress, the way you nod your head, the way you take notes, the way you call them up afterwards. I am shocked at the number of people who will not acknowledge something good I do for them. Just shocked. I go, where was mama and daddy? How did they not learn that? Here we teach it at Hypo University. So, I can go on and on, but look, you got to learn from people who've traveled the path before us. That's what coaching is all about. You don't keep doing what you've been doing because the world is moving all around you. So you keep doing what you've been doing. You say, well, it worked in the past. Well, guess what? It may not work in the future. You may have the best services in the world, but if people don't know about it, the question will be, so what? We don't get there. I think the definitive question is, how likely are your clients to recommend you to a friend? Recommend you to a friend. How likely is that? The higher the likelihood, the better off you are. You're doing something right along the pathway of life. So, don't waste time, because hey, it's all about energy management. It's not about time management. You gotta follow the 3 Ds: delay, delay, defer, or delete. That's what I do. I've got a stack of mail here that came today. Some of it I'll delay till less action time, less important time. Some of it I'll defer to somebody else to deal with. Some of it I'll delete it altogether. So I'm not going to deal with this. Because look, dear friends, and I'm about to open it up for questions here, Travis. I'm respecting your timeline. I'm a professional, Travis. I can't write songs or anything, but I'm a professional. So here's what one guy said to me. He made all the money in the world, all the fame in the world. And then he said, you know what? I forgot to live. I forgot to live. So look, challenge in life is about balance, right? It's all about balance. Work hard. You don't have to play hard, but do the things that you enjoy. So I enjoy helping people. So my wife and I are philanthropists in our community. We double tithe every year, and we built a children's museum here. $30 million children's museum, second to none. 60,000 square feet, it's about to open in a month or two. We were the lead donors to the hotel, conference center, and arena that we're finishing up here. We opened September 24. That's a $170 million project, 350,000 square feet. I don't think you've ever seen anything like it. Arena, hotel, and conference center all in one. Travis promised me he's going to bring his best friends, clients, and colleagues. I'm looking at you. I don't know, Guy, if you fit in that category. I don't know if you're list A, B,
He's
or
got
C.
some work to do, Nido.
What's
He's
that?
he's almost there.
I
He's
figured I
almost
can
there.
see it. I can see it. Jenny, on the other hand, she's in. So whoever you are, and I don't know if that's Michael. I don't know which one is Michael. These two can't afford it. They're using the same screen. Try to help him out, Travis. Try to help him make a little money. Which one is the one with the beard and the sexy hair? Which one is the sexy one without the hair? Oh yeah, that one too. James raised his hand. No, but with the screen that says Michael Shaw. Which one is Michael? Raise your hand, Michael.
That's Michael. He's the bald one, yeah.
Well, Michael, just remember something, and you too, James, and you too, Steve. Remember something. They don't put marble top on cheap furniture. So you're blessed. Your brains have grown up, and so Michael, who's your friend sitting next to you?
I think that's John.
Look, I have a flight next week. Am I going to miss it? Who is it?
John Thomas.
John, I like you, man, because you smiled throughout this presentation. When I said something funny, you smiled twice. Michael did something on his iPhone. He's probably answering his wife, pick up the groceries tonight. But look, I hope that Travis, oh, you're writing notes. Okay, Michael. I love you anyway. Travis will bring a group here and you'll see what we're talking about. But look, you can't forget to live. Doesn't mean you have to lie on your couch all day. Just means proportionate appropriately. I spend a lot of time with my family. Now I have grandkids. I'll take a Sunday afternoon and do something with them, et cetera, because at the end of the day, it's all about, the value that we create in our life. So I'm going to stop, Travis. I'm happy to answer any questions any of you have. I'm all yours. I've allotted the time any way you want it.
Well, why don't we do this, Nido? I'm going to throw one question out at you. While I'm doing that, if you've got a question, you can raise your hand on our Teams, or you can put it in the chat box, and we'll do our best. We do have to be done right at the top of the hour here. Nido, you talk a lot about circle of influence, and you used examples of these people in your life. If you're starting to think of that, what are the first 2 or 3 things that someone should be doing as it relates to the net to get them to that next circle of influence? What would you advise?
Well, hopefully the first thing, good question, Travis. The first thing I would do is I would see who do I know and who do they know. Because sometimes I can't get to it directly, but I can get to it through my friend who knows a friend who knows a friend. So that's the first thing I would do. Second, I would say, if I were starting this process from scratch and I have no limitation on my resources, and I use logic and common sense, so don't say you want to have Warren Buffett in your circle of influence. Be reasonable. Then you say, Todd Bloom, wherever you are. I see your question, Todd. Have you ever thought about taking Hype University public? You can't imagine the number of times people ask me that question. My own board of trustees said they'll put 50% of their net worth here, man. But the answer is no. It's just we take the money we make, we reinvest it for the good of the all. Anyway, so Travis, that's one thing I do. The second thing I would do is I would say, if I had no limitations, who would I go after? For example, I'd want someone in medicine, somebody in finance, somebody. See, the mistake we make, if you're in finance, all your friends are in finance. If you're a college professor, all your friends are college professors. Because we feel safest with people we know. But that's not the magic. The magic is to try to create, it's a puzzle, right? You're a puzzle and you want to complete this puzzle. So the different pieces of this puzzle, find the pieces you need to complete you, whatever that is, and then begin to find those people. Now you start by going to your Chamber of Commerce or some other group, and always be aware. Awareness is the greatest skill you'll ever develop, and it's the hardest skill for some people. Always be aware of your environment, aware of the thought process, aware of the opportunities. Awareness. And so slowly you'll surprise yourself. Now mine has been grown over, the last 40 years, and I had an advantage. I spoke in the platforms of America, the largest companies. And more often than not, the CEO would come up to me and said, I like the way you think. I like what you do. Can you work with us in our company? So I didn't really have to print brochures and stuff. I just provided value, and my clients wanted more of that value. Travis and I have been working, as you said, together for at least 10 years. I mean, that's remarkable. In coaching or consulting, that's not commonplace. And yet I've kept clients for 27 years or in case of Ashley, for example, for at least 8 years, and so on. So that's how you do it. Now, for me, through somebody, I met the founder of Apple Computer. And I always make a good impression, right? So like I came to you this morning, I spoke 2 hours and 40 minutes, but in the last 50 minutes, I gave you everything I got. I didn't act tired. I didn't cheat you out of energy. I gave you everything I got. Every time I do that, this week I'll speak 9 times on campus. Tomorrow I'll have 1,000 faculty and staff in a room with me. I'll give them everything I got. So I always did that. And that impressed people. So I met Steve Wozniak, the founder of Apple Computer. We became buddies now. And he's getting $150,000 a speech, Travis. And yet I've got him coming here every semester to work with my students. The founder of Netflix, I met him through somebody, I can't remember who. And then we became very good friends. He comes every semester. He even gives money for scholarships for people to go to this school. And if I showed you our promotional, video, all these people at the front end saying, I'm so-and-so, I'm in residence at High Point University, the premier life skills school. I can't tell you what these endorsements do for us. So that's how, I met Cynthia Marshall, the Mark Cuban CEO down in Dallas Mavericks. Again, at some meeting, I'm not hesitant to walk out to somebody. Forgive my boasting. I make a good impression. I'm always dressed nicely. I always talk nicely. I never ask for anything. I never walk up to somebody and say, can you give me an hour? Can I take you out to lunch? These are stupid questions. I don't need you to take me out to lunch. I would rather just thank them, find their address, send them a copy of my book or some book, a nice little note, all of a sudden it's a good impression. Every president of university in North Carolina who's a new president just comes in, I'm the first to write them, welcome to the neighborhood. And, you know, invite them, said the red carpet is out for you at High Point University. And I make these relationships very quickly. So that's really important. That's emotional, you know, intelligence, really important.
Yeah, impression management. That's what I was thinking the entire time.
Yep.
Moving up, yeah, we've got to make a great first impression. So Scott Leifried in Dubuque, Iowa, which is not too close from the big game that happened not too long ago on the Field of Dreams between the Yankees and White Sox.
Yep.
He's asking, how do you manage your energy?
Oh, Scott, I drink good scotch, Scott. What are you talking about? Don't drink listen, do not drink Red Label. Do not drink Black Label. That's for amateurs. Go for Blue Label, Johnny Walker, dude. Are you kidding me? All right, Scott, here's a serious answer. I'm high on life, man. You're looking at an immigrant who came to America with nothing, but by the grace of God and the help of others, I have risen to heights I never dreamed in my life. Scott, nothing will give you more energy than gratitude, gratefulness, being grateful to God Almighty. I give everybody on my campus one of these little doohickeys, and it sounds like this. I call it the no whining clicker. You whine, we click your ass. And don't jump me now. Ass is a biblical word. So, Scott, you get your energy by hanging around with people who are high energy. Don't hang around with sleepy people unless they're clients. Otherwise, don't do it. Don't go out for a beer with somebody who's, oh, life is difficult, my back hurts, you know, my prostate has gotten bigger. Jenny, I can't explain that to you. The guys know what I said. You can't do that, man. Hang around people who are high on life. I like to hang around. I'm 70. I'm going to be 73 this Saturday. So look, I hang around people who are 85 who are high on life. Go get them, make it happen. When you bring the group here, Travis, I want to bring Bob Brown, who's 86. Ask him how he gets his energy. Now look, Scott, energy is not always the way I talk or jumping up and down or raising your voice. Energy is visceral, right? It's inside of you. Some people are not as expressive as I am, but they still have a lot of energy. They still get the work done. They still go about life in a positive way. But the environment in which you reside, the choices which you make, how you change, and by the way, of course, get enough sleep. I get 5 hours a night. I'm happy. Get enough sleep. Eat right. I eat lots of vegetables. I got them in my briefcase here. I've got carrots and celery and anise. You probably don't know what anise is. Look it up in the grocery store. I eat anise. Fruits. I eat lots of fruits every day. And I'm kidding about the whiskey. I might drink a scotch once a week, but I do have a glass of wine every night. And I don't drink cheap wine, Scott. That will kill your energy. The wine is not about what you taste. It's put it in a beautiful crystal glass. Pick it up like this. Be British with your finger going out like this, you know, your little pinky finger, and look at it, smell it. This is just hot tea, by the way, but enjoy every sip and don't just drink it. Put yourself some green olives next to it, some roasted peanuts, some potato chips, and savor the moment. You don't have to have a lot of it. And so don't buy anything unless it's silver oak. I'm saying this in case you want to give me a gift sometime. Silver oak, Schaefer, Camus. Those are the kinds of things. It's about $90 a bottle. Now, the normal ones, the expensive ones are like $1,000 a bottle. So in all seriousness, Scott, energy, my friend, comes from within. It's a spiritual thing that you have. And so the more you appreciate who you are and the people around you, the more you'll find yourself being energetic. Celebrate your victories and learn from your failures.
Excellent, Nido. While we're waiting maybe for another question, I want to go back to something that you spoke about early on. And it's this assumption that people know who you are, what you stand for, and your culture. And you were telling us earlier, you spent 2 hours and 45 minutes just with faculty. You've got 9 meetings with, various teams at High Point this week.
Yeah.
So what can we do on a consistent basis to make sure they know, who we are and what we stand for?
Communicate. Be repetitious. I learned that lesson from the founder of Chick-fil-A, who became a very good friend of mine, Truett Cathy, who died 2-3 years ago. Now I'm friends with his son, Dan, who runs the show. That's become a $9 billion business. Unbelievable. Always long lines going into Chick-fil-A, and they don't even open on Sundays. Remarkable. Truett Cathy, I've watched him. I've spoken to their leaders 3-4 times. He will always say, my pleasure. And he repeats that on 30, 40, 50 times in his speech. He makes sure there's no such thing as too much repetition. So at Hype University, we're the premier life skills university. We're God, family, country. We repeat that every day in every speech, every day in every writing. The reason I'm speaking this week, today I spoke to new faculty. Tomorrow I'll speak to faculty and administrative staff, about 1,000 of them. Then tomorrow afternoon I'll speak to all the food service and the guy who cuts the grass and all of those people. And then the next day I go back to faculty and speak again about things in the classroom, because I don't want indoctrination. And so I let them know that if they're here to indoctrinate our students, they're not going to survive a long time on this campus. Why do I do that? And then I'll do it again, convocation with families and so on. I speak at every staff meeting every month, every faculty meeting every month. It's not because I like to hear myself talk. It's because I know that people do not learn at the first exposure. What do we say about sales? We say, let me see if I can remember the statistics. 50% of America's salespeople make one call on a potential client and then they give up. Guy says no, they run away. 17% make 2 calls, they give up. 8% make 3 calls, they give up. 5% make 4 calls, they give up. But 20% of America's sales professionals will make 5 or more calls on the same person. And that 20% closes 80% of America's sales. Go figure. Why is it that Coca-Cola runs the same ad over and over and over, Miller Lite over and over and over in the same 2-hour span of a game or whatever? Why is that? We don't learn from the first exposure. Think about how you learn to walk. Think about how you learned your alphabet. Why do we think that adults are different than that? They're not. And when you're trying to get a culture going, you have to constantly communicate, but more importantly, you must connect. How do you connect? You ask this question. How must this person feel first so they will do business with me? Oh yeah, nobody's going to buy anything from you until they feel good about you. How must this person feel first so they will do what I ask them to do? Right? That's how you build culture. And so you constantly repeat it, but also you create culture by modeling it. So at High Point, we say, we live, they watch, they learn. That's big. So I told this new faculty, imagine new faculty coming from other institutions, 42 of them. And I dared to say to them, I want you to dress nicely in the classroom. You don't have to have tie and coat, but you can dress nicely because you're an ambassador. And your ambassadorship does not end on this campus, wherever you go, because everybody's supposed to wear this pin. And I carry them in my pocket. You don't have a pin on? I say, hey, I have a gift for you. I give him the pin. I had a guy here who would wear the pin only when he saw me. And so I figured out where I can surprise this guy. And he was in management. And I showed up. And the first time I said, oh, man, this must be a new suit. You don't have a pin for it. I gave him the pin. Now, some people might say, well, that's pushy. Well, I don't give a tinker's damn. We know who we are, and we are going to live it. And it's okay if I lose 5% of the people. That's perfectly okay. I still got 95%, right? So you gotta do what you believe. If you don't, I brought up my kids this way. This is what we believe. And yes, this is good for you. I'm your dad. I know better than you. And in this case, I'm the chief executive officer. It's my job to make sure, now we do it nicely and kindly and respectfully and with love, of course. There's some people who are so introverted. If I talk to them like this, they'll commit suicide within the next 17 minutes. So you can't do that. You have to know the person and you have to be, easy on them, right?
Well, Nido, thank you. Great lessons, great stories. Your energy was almost high today. I mean, it was borderline. Now,
Yeah.
if you guys, just so you know, if you've never seen Nido, I've seen him 16 years. I mean, this is Nido. This isn't Nido. He shows up for a webinar and he turns it on. This is Nido. Very authentic. He preaches and teaches, but he walks what he preaches and teaches. So I appreciate you bringing your message today, as always, and appreciate all your mentorship. And there will be a select few that will be coming to see that new place, So few people on this call, they need to
Make
work
sure
on.
John comes. Make sure John comes because he
John
smiles at
comes.
all my jokes. And
But
Michael, thank you for that comment you put up. We appreciate you too. And listen, I'm so glad that this is coming to an end because it is 1 o'clock. I'm president. It's a 3 martini lunch and a 2-hour nap. So I'm glad that you did not infringe on that. That's how you get your energy, Scott. You
there
live
you go.
life to the fullest.
Thank you,
Thank
Nido.
you, guys. My
Thank you for
pleasure being
everybody
with
for
you.
coming.
God bless you. Be
Have a
well.
blessed day.
See you next time. Bye-bye.